Well, hey guys, it's Thorzax here, and what I've done is I've already charged 5 cases of the 75 by 55 with 40.8 grains of IMR 4064. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and load those with the 168 grain Sierras. Now, I would have gotten back earlier, but I ended up having to go out and actually buy a 100-round box of this. So, a little technical difficulty when I went out there to the bench and everything. I looked around and, well, anyway, I solved that problem. So, anyway, we're going to go ahead and continuing on here. One of the things that I'll put out there, if you haven't got one of these, you really ought to get one. They just work. I mean, the Hornady unit sells for about $160. I've seen it on sale. Graff and Sons has them. Midway has them. Mid-South has them. And so far I've been really pleasantly pleased with this. It really does work good, and it's been dead on every time. You got to mess around with the speed that it trickles the last bit in, because if you have it too fast, it'll usually go over. But other than that, I mean, it's spot on every time. So the two loads that we're using with 4064 is 40.8 and 43.2. That one went over. You press enter. You put this back down in there. Put it back on there and it'll throw another charge automatically. There you go. I think what it is that a lot of people have went out there and actually bought more expensive scales and powder measure combinations and stuff like that, and they don't really like the idea that Hornady, basically put one together that just about anybody can afford, and it does everything that everybody else's does. The only thing it doesn't do is store loads. It doesn't have a lot of menus in there where you can go through it like a computer or whatever, and you got all your loads already loaded in there. I mean, you have to set your load every time, but I don't mind that. That's what they make books for. You can go ahead and just get some yellow stickies and put it in your books, and that can be all your pet loads that you fired. Save yourself a little money, You don't have to be that fancy. So anyway, we're on the 5th load already. And that will do it for 4064 with a 168 grain. That's going to be our 2 test loads. There you go. Right in the ballpark. Okay. So what I'm going to do, set those out here. I'm going to work on my next loadings. And what these will be is our 155 grain Palma bullet. And with 4064, we're going to have 3 different loadings with that. And that will be 41.8, 44.0, and 46.1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spare you guys a little bit of video time here. Basically, all I'm doing is just charging the cases and working working with the 4064 to get it all loaded up, and then we'll go ahead and press all the 168s in there. So when I return, we should be seating bullets with the 4064. When we move on to H4895, that's when we're going to have approximately 30 loads to go through with 5-shot strings. So, anyway, when I return, we'll be seating bullets. Okay, so don't go away, and Until next time, this is Thorzak's. Stay tuned. Well, hey guys, Thorzak's here again, and what we're doing is we're just finishing up here with the charging with 4064. I took the liberty to go ahead and go ahead and load up all the 155 grains, and I did some 168 grains with 4064. So what we're doing here is we're moving on to 4895. So we're going to go ahead and be charging 41.1, 43.3, and 45.5 of H4895 with the 168 grain bowtail hollow point. And we'll get that going. So anyway, so what we want to do is start off with 41.1. And we'll put our speed over on slow and press enter for the target, right? And then we'll just go ahead and push dispense. One thing I've noticed about the powder measure is that usually when you first start out, it'll overcharge, but once it overcharges just once, then it's usually just good to go. 41.1. There you go. Proved me a liar. So there you go. It only happens on YouTube, guys. Okay. Now automatic reset. Pull the next charge. If you guys don't have one of these, they're really well worth the money. I really like it. I think it's probably one of the least expensive ones out there, but it works perfect. I don't think you really need anything else. That's just me. Individual taste, I guess. If you want an RCBS Charge Master, it's fine. Go ahead and buy one. I'm not trying to stick up for any one particular company that makes these, but I think they all pretty much operate about the same. The Lyman, the RCBS, and the Hornady, they're pretty much in the ballpark of the same kind of what they do. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just continue going on through these next 3 loads and then go ahead and press bullets. One thing I did do is I went ahead and I set the bullet length to the magazine length. Okay, I didn't set it off the lands and grooves. And the reason why that is in the K31, the K31's chamber is designed the way that a rifle's chamber should be designed. And they have a very short lead into the lands and grooves. There's very little freebore. And, the Swiss didn't, consider, cutting away perfectly good rifling for the particular bullet weight and the speed that they wanted out of the rifle for the magazine length and all that other stuff. They just went ahead and cut it so where the bullet would fit in there, and that was it. That was their bullet seating length, and they just stayed with that as far as, any freebore. So that's one reason why the K31 is so accurate. Make sure that when in doubt, look. Yeah. So anyway, this pretty much sums it up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to package this up for the next time we go out to the range. And what I'll do is I'll just get a bunch of 100-yard targets. I'll go ahead and load, fire a bunch of them, and then just go ahead and do that over the next series of couple of days, and then show you guys the results that I got. Get some range video in there maybe. So anyway, this is Thorzak's. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, we'll be checking this out. So next time would probably be range time and evaluation. You guys have a good one.